Hello, everyone, and welcome to the CFO Insider. I am Amy Brownell, and every single Tuesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, we go live here on YouTube and Facebook to talk about all things CFO and advisory related. Now, today we have a really great topic. It is all about having a plan B. Now, some of you might be wondering what I mean by a plan B. We're going to get into it. Now, before we get started, I want to remind you, I would love it, if you would go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you are notified anytime we drop new content, every time we go live. And, if you have comments or questions as we go through, feel free to drop them into the comment section and I will answer them either during the live here or afterwards. So, yes. Let's jump into this. So first, I want to tell you a quick story that happened. I have a bookkeeper that messaged me last week. She has been in the field for 15 years. She's been doing bookkeeping for 15 years. And her firm just rolled out a new bookkeeping tool. And it basically does what a third of the team used to do. The software does that now. Nobody got fired. Everyone just kept working, but she couldn't stop thinking about it. She's not the only one. I am hearing some version of this almost every single week. Bookkeepers, CPAs, controller, FP&A leads who are making good money at good companies, they're not panicked about AI. They're not in denial. They're somewhere in the middle. And watching the work shift and quietly wondering if they should be doing something about it. So let me say it out loud. Do I think AI is coming for your job tomorrow? No, I do not. Not tomorrow. The doom headlines, I think, are wrong and misleading. That said, the work is changing and you need to have a backup plan just in case. You never know what's going to happen. And that's what we're going to talk about today. What's actually changing and the plan that you should be building on the side just in case AI comes for you. So there are two things happening in the finance world. The first is work that AI is already absorbing. We're talking about reconciliations and transaction categorization, things like financial statement preparation, month-end close, AP, AR. Those are all things that AI is already doing. As you may know, Intuit has spent billions of dollars on AI, and they are trying to corner that market of being the all-in-one, the one-stop shop, the one-stop cheap shop of doing bookkeeping services. Now, that said, if a task is described as take this data, apply these rules, produce this outcome, this output, probably better said, AI is either doing this now or will be in the near future. It's not that this work is going away. This work is collapsing. What used to take 30 hours a week to do now takes 8. Which means firms don't need 3 bookkeepers anymore. They hardly need 1. They need 1 and a software subscription. And it's not just bookkeeping. There are other industries like tax that are feeling that same pinch. Now there are programs like TurboTax and all of its competitors, Tax Act, and all of the competitors that are working on doing that exact same thing, taking that tax work away from the tax people, the CPAs and the EAs who are doing it. So if you're in this category, you have some runway, but it's short. It's short runway and it's not safe. It's just not safe. The second category 2, is the work that AI cannot touch. So for example, you're sitting across from a business owner who just lost their best client and helping them think through what it means for cash flow for the next quarter. Or you're looking a founder in the eye and telling them that the pricing is the reason they can't pay themselves. Telling a client, no, you can't afford that when they really want it. You know how it is. That work isn't getting automated, not in 2 years, not in 5 years, not in 15 years. And it's because it's not about producing an output from a data set. It's about judgment and relationships, pattern recognition that comes from actually sitting in the room with real humans who are scared to make real life decisions. This isn't a software problem. This is a human problem. And here's the part that no one talks about. These categories, they don't pay the same, not even close. Category 1, bookkeepers make on average $300 to $1,000 per client per month. On average, if you're working for yourself. Now, if you are working in the corporate space, you're closer to that 50 grand mark, maybe a little bit more. So it's good money and stable, but will it last? Category 2, we're talking $3,000, $5,000, $8,000 per client per month. That's right, $3,000, $5,000, $8,000 per client per month. And you don't need that many clients to build a real practice. So as AI moves up the stack, a couple of things happen. The bottom compresses. So think about all of those repetitive bookkeeping tasks and tax tasks. Oh, that's a tongue twister. The top becomes more valuable. Now, so if the question isn't really, will AI take my job? The question is, am I doing work that's going to matter more in 5 years than it does right now? Or matter more or less? It's probably better said. So here's the plan. And it's quieter than the internet would have you believe. You don't quit. I'm not saying that you should quit. I'm not saying you should announce anything and burn down what you've got. I'm saying you build on the side the version of your career that lives in category 2. So I'm talking about a CFO and advisory practice. You need one client, average $5,500, while your current income still covers your life. Not leave your job and hang up a shingle, start it just all willy-nilly, go all in, although you can go all in. But I'm not saying take a leap. I'm saying land one client at, let's say, $5,500 a month on the side, and then decide, what do you want to do next? That is an option. That is a real option. And here is what surprises most finance folks when they actually try it. The clients, they don't ask about a CPA license. They don't ask about an MBA. They ask one question in different wording. They ask, can you help me make sense of my numbers and tell me what to do next? That's what they're looking for. Can you help me? And can you tell me what to do next? If you've been reading financial statements, P&Ls, balance sheets, cash flow statements for a decade, the honest answer to that question is yes, you can do that. You've been doing that work just for someone else's salary. Now, a couple of examples, not hypotheticals. I know a woman named Ranjan. She's not a CPA. She signed her first CFO client at $8,100 a month after just 6 weeks. Catherine, also not a CPA. She landed her first client also 6 weeks in, $7,000 a month was that fee. And then finally we have Luis, who was running a successful bookkeeping practice. He upsold one of his clients into CFO work, added $4,200 a month to his salary. So same client, just new positioning. None of them quit anything to do this. They did it all on the side. That's what a backup plan is. That's the hedge. Now, this hedge is the same kind of thing that makes any good CFO tell their client what to build. So imagine someone in your life seeing this this threat that's coming for your business, any good friend, any good CFO, any good business partner would say, hey, maybe we should think about this. You don't want to let, if you were a CFO, you wouldn't let one client be a business owner's entire portfolio or make up 80% of the work. That's just so unsafe. And it puts you in a financial lurch if something bad happens. And that advice doesn't stop applying when it's your business. So I want you to take a think of that. Now, the thing that stops most people from building this isn't their skills, it isn't the time, it isn't the market. Some people may say that, but I bet you $1 to a donut that it is not that. It is that confidence, that belief that you can do this, and the positioning. They don't know how to package what they already do into an offer that business owners will pay $5,000, $8,000 for. And that's what I teach inside the Game Changer Challenge live. I walk you through the positioning, the pricing, that first client conversation, the exact structure that Ranjan and Catherine and Luis, used to land their first engagements. I'm going to put that link in the chat. It is gamechangerchallenge.com/register-1day. And if you heard something here today that landed that made you think, hey, a backup plan would be a good thing, I invite you to go register. Go register. The worst position that you can be in 5 years is not the position of someone whose job has changed. It's being someone who saw it changing and didn't do anything about it. So you don't need to be sure, you just need to get started. Just get started is all I ask. So that is it for today's edition of the CFO Insider. Again, we go live every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific to talk about all things CFO advisory. Don't forget to leave a message in the chat or, which we actually already have a message in the chat. Let me answer that real quick. Can I still become a fractional CFO if I don't have bookkeeping experience, but I have an MBA, not that I've used much? Most businesses I've encountered are small and need help with their books. Yes, Marie. I assume your name is Marie, I'm hoping. But yes, you can absolutely do that. A business owner does not care about the initials behind your name. They don't care if you're a CPA. They don't care if you're an MBA. They don't care what your experience is. What they care about is the outcome you can provide for them. So you can, if you're doing bookkeeping, it sounds like you're not, you can offer that service. If you're not offering bookkeeping, that's totally fine. You can find a really inexpensive bookkeeper either here in the States or offshore who can do that bookkeeping work for you, and you can focus on the CFO work. So the answer to that question is an absolute yes. You actually can still become a fractional CFO without having bookkeeping experience. Bookkeeping experience not needed. All right, that is it. If you have any other questions, feel free to drop them in the chat, make a comment, I'll get back to you, and we will see you next week for another edition of the CFO Insider. Have a good one.